Raw from Gay Paris. Several match of the night contenders. So, Monday Night Raw from Paris, France. Let's get into it. We start the show with Oba Femi in a promo in which he speaks about the King of the Ring tournament, advancing in said tournament, and also his current situation with Brock Lesnar, focusing once again on the 1 and 1. Obviously, that being the fact that Oba has won one, Brock has won one, and this feud is not exactly over. What I will say is Oba Femi always cuts a really good promo, something we've never really seen before, this heavy African accent. I am to believe that that's not his real accent. I mean, culturally, yes, but, you know, at home, not so much. In any case, we've never seen something like that. He goes out there and cuts a promo in a Wakanda chain, to which he's interrupted by Dirty Dom. Hey, right, Dom? I can't hear you, man. I cannot hear you. Say again? Well, Oba ended that promo well. Yes, we know Ray's your father, but I'm going to introduce you to your daddy. That was a lot. That was a lot from Oba. That led us to Seth Rollins, another strong promo of the night. I will say the WWE are trying, and it is step by step to get to the level of what I guess AEW did back at Double or Nothing. Such a proficient show and everything within their storytelling up until Double or Nothing, and after there's some just absolute gems. Might have a few to show you here today as well. So the fact that the promos have gotten better, and the WWE seem to recently have been focusing on trying to put their stronger performers, rather, your Seth Rollins and so forth, your real strong performers who maybe a light hasn't been shone on them so much before, give them a real shot, because you take a little bit of storytelling and you take a lot of wrestling ability and you craft something as amazing as what AEW did. I think that's why we're seeing more of a push of someone like Chad Gable at the moment. We're going to get into that. I think it's the reason why it seems like Melo might be making a little bit of a resurgence. Ricky Starks has proven from AEW itself that he can have really great matches. So he is being integrated into the product a little bit more. Blake Monroe, Mariah May, being bumped up and coming straight into something that seems quite big, because we know she's coming to SmackDown and she's going to be getting into some kind of feud or whatever it is with Tiffany Stratton. I have spoken many times about that and about the links between the storyline between Toni Storm and Mariah May, and that the WWE seem to want to recreate something close to that. So it's logical that it's Tiffany Stratton that they put her with. I think they need to do better than that, though, because I don't think it's not going to work with Tiffany Stratton as the other performer in that. In any case, great promo by Seth. It kind of teases. There's already been talks about possibly SummerSlam and Rollins versus Reigns at SummerSlam. I think that's too close. I don't think you're going to get Rollins versus Reigns that close. I think you still have a whole lot of bloodline to work through. And I think you have to remember the bloodline storyline went on for an entire, entire year, but it went on for much longer than just a year. So I think this bloodline story, there's a culmination in it probably all the way till next WrestleMania. So I don't see Seth Rollins and Reigns having that match first, or not one where Seth Rollins wins anyway. So that took us to the Queen of the Ring tournament, 4-way match, Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, Becky Lynch, and Liv Morgan. And I said to myself, please, let this be the push of Chelsea Green. It wasn't, but it was an absolutely fantastic match. It really was. It is an honorable mention of mine for best match of the night, because they all performed so well. And I think every now and again, we get a match where Chelsea Green isn't just performing as a comic. She has given us some of that real wrestling prowess that she has, that we know she has. This was one of those matches where she wasn't just drowned out by screaming and running away from her competitor. Yes, she looks a bit scared every now and again, but then she pulls off like it told a story, I thought. And one thing I will say about the entirety of this Raw was that characters were well defined. I thought that was very good by the WWE, actually. They had well-defined characters in a lot of places in these matches. I will say, yes, it helps to build a story for Liv Morgan, but it's a story she doesn't need right now. She has, I wouldn't say enough going on, because she doesn't necessarily have a feud or anyone coming for that belt ever since Stephanie Vaquer. So I think Jordynne Grace is on SmackDown, but it would have made sense to Jordynne Grace somewhere near the title or something as a performer that I'm looking at that isn't used at the moment. But alas, I guess we're going to put Liv Morgan into a storyline that kind of shatters the Judgment Day or does something with the Judgment Day, because it looks like she's barreling towards Raquel Rodriguez, doesn't it? Though I'm not quite sure Raquel Rodriguez is going to be the Queen of the Ring. In any case, it was really, really a good match. Every character was defined well. Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, vastly different characters. Chelsea Green, vastly different character. Liv Morgan, vastly different character. And the way they performed in the ring, as well as telling stories, I thought was absolutely excellent. I couldn't have looked for a better match throughout the night. However, we did get a few contenders, I would say, or winners of that. So that takes us to the title match between Lyra Valkyria and Sol Ruka. Both performers are performers I really love. And I will say I don't really have many words to describe that in a better way. I really love both performers, their ability and their skill and what they can do. I am just in awe of both of these women as far as their ability. So therefore, I thought it was a little bit early for Lyra to be competing against Sol Ruka, but I knew what the WWE were trying to do. They're just trying to put on an absolutely phenomenal match, and these performers would, as they did. I think Lyra Valkyria is possibly somewhat wasted. I want to say that maybe the WWE will give her a bigger push in years to come, but I think she's heavily wasted. I remember her as the women's NXT champion, and I couldn't see much more of a capable NXT champion. As far as a face goes, we've had a lot of face as champions. The heels were more credible as a champion in most cases. However, you get a fan favorite face that is also a champ that seemingly cannot be beaten. And I think aside from probably Asuka, I can't really think of many. But I think Lyra Valkyria was one of them. Very credible as the women's NXT champion. So for that reason, to watch her and Sol Ruka compete, I always knew it was going to be a great match, as it was. There was twists and turns, but it was just an absolute wrestling dream of a match. It was really good. That led us to Penta versus Rey Mysterio, which again was an absolutely insane match. I think Rey Mysterio, I don't know what Rey Mysterio's been eating, been drinking. I don't know if he's made a deal with the devil or claws or something. But I'd say he looks better than I've ever seen him look. Even in the young days of Rey Mysterio, I saw him, man, the way he's wrestling now, insane. What we got from Rey Mysterio and Penta was a very indie style match, a very luchador style match, but top of the card luchador style match, where they're gonna have to integrate some moves from other countries as well as the Mexican style. That is exactly what we got. It was incredible. And I would say a real workhorse match. It was that, and it was an indie style match all at the same time. I give it my MVP of the night for all four competitors. Well, I say all six competitors. And that's interesting considering the fact that the match was originally two competitors, but they managed to tell a story all the way through the match and then the end of the match. At the end of the match, what we got was the interference by Ethan Page and Rusev. Disgusting behavior to rip the mask from Rey Mysterio's face. Dragon Lee came out and did what he did. Dragon Lee's looking absolutely fantastic. And I think him coming in the ring just to save Rey Mysterio a little bit is continually, we need to see him in some more matches. And I would say change a few things about his character. I don't know. The kid-friendly thing works for some people. I don't think it works for Dragon Lee. Maybe it does in Mexico, and I'm just unaware. But I think a few things need to be changed because it's not his wrestling ability. His wrestling ability is incredible. That led us to Chad Gable coming to the ring. And as I said before, I would touch on Chad Gable. So there were things that I liked and there were things that I didn't like. So, I mean, maybe I shouldn't be looking at this as far as wrestling goes, but you see these three men of color that were being attacked by Ethan Page and Rusev, and they needed to be saved by Chad Gable. Like, that's how we're going to make Chad Gable the hero. I get that he's been on this redemption tour since he lost his mask, and he's gone from heel to face. It's been a long time coming, if I'm being honest, to try and put Chad Gable higher in the card, in a sphere, because he has Kurt Angle ability, and he's an excellent wrestler all around and should be held higher in the card. We know this for a fact. There's a lot of opportunity for him, and he has proven that he can work with something terrible and make it into something great, because that's the whole El Grande Americano thing. So he can work characters, he can wrestle excellent, and he can cut promos, and he can make you laugh, and he can make you cry, and he can make you get behind him. That's everything. So no wonder there's a big push involved. But it just, for me, I just looked at it, and it was just like, this is the age-old story of the natives that need the white man to come and save them. Sorry. Didn't really want to take it there, but this is like Tarzan all over again. But I will say, again, fantastic match, MVP, and Chad Gable is a part of that MVP. I thought he did absolutely well what he's being asked to do at the moment. He does so well. Yes, he does it so well. Give him one of those as well. So my MVP of the night goes to Ethan Page, Dragon Lee, Rusev, Penta, and Rey Mysterio, and Chad Gable. Absolutely fantastic, boys. You told a hell of a story. One more again. Just MVP. This took us to what was the end of the show, which was my best match of the night. As I said before, the Alexa Chelsea, I keep saying Charlotte, Alexa Chelsea, Becky and Liv was an honorable mention. And previously in the night, I had it marked down as my best match of the night, but I will say that Seth Rollins, Tyler Tonga, Ricky Saints, and Javon Evans was just mind-blowing. There were so many elements right there. They managed to tell the story in the ring, and the characters were so well defined. In every single way, I think the characters were so well defined. Seth being what Seth was, Tyler Tonga being the big, massive, huge monster WWE's had in years to come, because you can see how nimble he is. You can see that he can work well. You can see that he can tell a story. I don't think Tyler Tonga is like what we've seen before. He came in as, yes, a part of the MFTs, and there wasn't a lot of fan farewell or a lot talked about him, but I think he is going to work out to be an absolutely timeless acquisition, watching him in especially this match. I will say Ricky Saints looked better than I had seen Ricky Saints in a long time. More interesting, definitely. This is something I knew he could do from AEW, but I haven't seen it all that much in recent. Yes, he had been thrust in the kind of heavyweight heel in NXT, and he did a lot of work there. And if I'm being honest, I had never really seen Ricky as a heel. So this was interesting to see him as this. I didn't really care for it all that much. I like him much more as a face. Javon, again, another clear, defined character. I didn't think there was any chance he was going to win this. I thought this was Seth Rollins to win all day long. However, there was no way it was over with the Vision, was it? There was just no way. And I think that played a heavy part within this. Obviously, there were interferences towards the end of the match, and they were beautiful. They were great. The interference by the Vision, the interference by Montez Ford, of course. It just brought that whole main event to a higher level, and it was chef's kiss. It really was. Pleased to see that Seth didn't win, and I don't mean that anything against Seth. I am pleased to see that there is another character direction thought out for Seth. Just as there might be another character twist or turn for the MFTs and Tyler Tonga. I like that they were able to do that, and therefore Javon was the winner. Love to see where they go with Javon with this. He would be a logical choice for winner of King of the Ring. I would say it, in order to try and push him. We know he's not going to win any world titles at the moment, but just to push him in that sphere and in that direction a little bit more, because he has been handed quite a few losses recently. But again, brilliant main event, has to be my best match of the night. Yes, 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 has to absolutely be one of those as well, one of those. Yep. Best match of the night, Seth Rollins, Tyler Tonga, Ricky Saints, and Javon Evans. And that, of course, brings us to the end of the show. However, there is a little clip I wanted to show. I previously spoke about brilliant working, and I previously spoke about AEW and some of the work that is being done on AEW's television at the moment, and I just wanted to show you a little something that describes to you the level of skill, the amount of time it takes to get something over, and pushing the envelope, something I think that the WWE aren't necessarily getting right at the moment. So, run a clip.
Incredibly heated. Guys, things have been intense, to say the least. What is the plan tonight?
Renee, tonight's not the night. I know you're doing your job, but we're here to take out FTR. As a matter of fact, we're going to take out anyone who gets in our way. Renee is not in our way.
Christian.
No.
Father. You're the one who said it, Adam. You can't be mad at Christian for following directions.
If you like the content, please hit like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and let you know when I'm uploading next. And until then, I have been the Triple Crown Champ. I'll see you next time.